Hey man, what's up?
What's going on, bro?
Hey, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's
do
go.
this.
Yep.
Sunday drive. We got the Bills versus the Jaguars. There's game time temperature is supposed to be pretty low, isn't it?
The temperature is going to be about what the combined score is. So, and that was that was a piece of my lung.
You gonna be all right?
I don't know.
I'll get it for you.
I'm going down, coach. There's no way if you're a betting man, right? The Jags are getting 9 points.
What?
Jags are 9-point favorites. So you're betting the Bills 9 points.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the game may end 9-12.
6-3.
That's what I mean.
Cleveland Browns.
I think I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. You're betting the under. You're taking the Bills if they're getting 9 points. Like that game's going to be tight in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, I think the Bills have a very big chance to win this game because Jacksonville comes in with a pretty inflated record. Who did they play? Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Who did they lose to? Playoff teams. So. And now, mind you, my theory puts the Bills in the playoffs as a playoff team who lost to the Bengals and who lost to the Jets. Right? So, Bills very easily could have won 11 games this year.
Yeah.
Right? And that's with sitting your starting quarterback for a game.
Mm-hmm.
Because. Just because. Right? So, they really battled identity. They're fortunate to be in the playoffs. They got the help that they needed. But with that said, the Jags didn't beat anybody this year. So it really depends on what type of Jags team shows up. Is it the one where Blake Bortles throws for 300 yards? Their receivers are a tough matchup for us because they're quick.
Well, the ones
guys.
they have left.
Right. Well, D.D. Westbrook is quick.
He's impressive.
Yep. Keenan Cole, quick. Right.
And not much of a book on those guys. There's only 4 games.
Right.
Really, that you could say that they've had a volume of targets that, you know. I mean, the thing about this game is each defense is going to try to make the offense beat them. Or the quarterback, I'm sorry. He's trying to make the offense. The Bills are going to try to do is you can get to Bortles. He's not a threat to run, even though he can use his feet. He's not a threat to run as much as Tyrod is.
Right.
So what are you going to try to do? You're going to try to play more zone behind him. You're going to try to, disguise a couple coverages here and there so he makes a mistake. With Tyrod, they're probably just going to rush 4, stay in their lanes, because Darius is a very athletic big man in the middle. So they're going to park him in between the center and the guard, and they're going to say, listen, you just spy him, okay? And Posluszny, not so much Posluszny, but Telvin Smith has the speed to make it up and catch Tyrod.
Yeah.
So he's going to try to roll. They're probably going to tell him, listen, you find out where 50 is and go the other way if you need to roll. So they may overload one side, try to flush him to Telvin Smith's side.
Sure.
So, but I think majority of the defensive game plan this week is going to be keep them in the pocket.
Yeah.
Make them throw. Don't let them do anything else.
I feel that.
So the defense for the Bills has to stop the run early, and the defense of the Jags has to shut down McCoy's outside game.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
A lot of people will be down on Zay Jones. They say he really hasn't had a productive season.
It doesn't matter. You're in the Bills' offense. You're a wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. How productive could you be?
It's like being a bullpen catcher for the Astros.
Make league minimum.
You would, yeah, but you're just sitting there every day, waiting for your shot.
Right. Well, again, with the offense that the Bills are running, how productive do you really expect Zay Jones to be? Now, again, can he go multiple games without a catch? No, that's inexcusable.
No, yeah,
that's inexcusable.
That is. How many targets did he have in those games?
I don't even know. Not many. A couple.
It'll flash right around here. How many targets?
I got my red Yankees cap on. I'm like Fred Durst, ready to break stuff.
That was a little intense.
You're welcome. You're welcome for that.
It is.
Predictions for Sunday. McCoy is said to be playing. Now,
Oh, he's going to play.
Yeah. Now, the biggest thing with McCoy is always his ability to cut, right? I love LaShawn McCoy, but let's be real, doesn't have the best vision on initial contact. When he gets the ball in his hands, does not have great line vision. Let's just call it what it is.
Put it out there, yeah.
He doesn't have great line vision. Good enough, right? But he depends on his elusiveness and his quickness. It's not about vision for him.
Okay.
Right? So, what does he do on Sunday?
Which ankle is it?
Right ankle.
He's only got two.
He's only got two.
I know.
So
I know. My
50-50
point
chance.
being is this: what he wants to do a lot of times is he wants to cut it back. That's what he does a lot of times. If he's going to the right side of the line, which customarily people know as the running side, he has to cut it back. It's going to be a little bit of a problem. If he tries to run to the left side, which is usually the pass protection side, and he has to cut it, he can cut off his left easier, but you don't know. Very, very irrelevant discussion that we're just having right now. I'm just saying, if he's got a cut, we gotta get a stat man to tell us what percentage of plays he runs to the right, what percentage of plays he runs to the left, and which ankle it is. And if it's his right ankle and he runs 66% to the right, let's just say, then it's gonna be a problem because he likes to cut. And you said his vision really isn't that good. He's more of a feel runner. Is that okay?
Yeah.
He'll look initially and say, okay, there's a defensive tackle, there's an end, there's two linebackers, and there's a corner out there. All right, those are the guys I'm gonna have to worry about. That's the guys I have in my mind on the right hand side if I'm gonna run the ball that way, and I have to worry about the cutback lane. Who's the middle linebacker? All right, oh well, here comes Plus Lesney, so I gotta avoid him. I'm not gonna outrun Telvin Smith.
No.
So and then the two corners out there are guys that want to get their hands dirty. As far as Ramsey and who's the other corner? I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of it right now.
Aaron Coleman.
You love some Aaron Coleman.
It's just one of those guys, man. You go through the draft and the Jags drafted him, and I was like, damn it, he's good.
And he only got that low because he tore his ACL.
Yeah,
senior year.
missed his senior year.
He's a hell of a player, though.
Yeah, sure is. But that whole Jags defense is just stacked with players. But that's the thing about that Jags defense is they're so fast that they depend on their speed.
Yeah.
Right. So getting the exterior is easy for them. The problem is, if you can get them moving the wrong way, you can beat them because they'll get deep on the other side of the field.
Yes. So, the thing is, having a young, fast defense like that, I mean, they've had first-round picks, top 5 picks for the past, 20 years?
Well, yeah, it's perennial. They've had perennial top picks.
So, I mean, you have all of those number one, or those first-round picks that are high, you're eventually going to have a pretty good defense if you load them all up and get them all there. But yeah, they can move them left to right if they do a lot of misdirection. The problem is, will McCoy's ankle hold out?
Yeah, well that's the whole problem with an ankle injury, right? Is how effective is a misdirection game if you got a running back who can only cut one way?
Well, if you have, let's just say this, McCoy healthy against Jacksonville, how many carries do you think he should get for the Bills to be successful? 25?
Yeah.
With maybe 8 targets?
Yeah, that's the thing that disappeared for him in the middle of the season was he wasn't catching the ball.
No.
He wasn't catching the ball at all. I think that was the pressure from Tyrod saying, I have to push the ball downfield. I have to throw the ball downfield. And McCoy was completely out of the passing game for a few weeks. McCoy has to touch the ball 30 times. I think you have to go in ultimate touches. How many touches does he need to be effective? I don't want to talk about just receptions versus carries. How many touches does McCoy need?
Right.
Because if he's got a bum ankle, the easiest thing to do is get him in space to get him moving straight, right?
Yeah.
If you put him behind the line and just give him 25 carries, he's got to run 4 or 5 yards to get to the line first. And there's people there waiting for him. If you can get him out in space, you can get a little bit of distance between him and a defender, and then it might be easier for him to make one person miss than to make 5.
Yes.
So I think you have to look at ultimate touches for McCoy and not carries.
Well, my point, what I was trying to get to is this, is that, okay, let's say 30 touches is the number that you need to get for McCoy to have a successful game against the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Because that's a healthy McCoy.
Right.
If you have an injured or banged up McCoy, let's say, for instance, you decide to bring in Tolbert. Now, who's the second best runner on that team for the Buffalo Bills? It's your quarterback.
Yeah.
Tyrod. So what you have to do, they're going to focus on Tyrod in the quote-unquote running game if McCoy's not in the game. That's what they're going to try to do. So let's say what you have to do is normally on downs where you would give the ball to McCoy to get his touches, you would have to fake it and have Tyrod do it. So I wouldn't doubt that they're going to have a lot of naked bootleg where he just runs. Maybe one guy in the pattern. Yeah. You may have one where they do a lot of read option in the backfield to try to give them, like you said, that's your misdirection. You do read option in the backfield, but you're not giving it to McCoy at all. So that could be where they supplement. They probably get like maybe 5-8 carries out of Tyrod to try to spell McCoy, but McCoy's still in the game during those times.
So do you think that's part of the script early on? Because that's one thing that we've seen the script be very effective. So the Bills' first drive the last few weeks has been pretty effective. It was really effective against the Pats, the first couple possessions, but you see their game plan deteriorate as the game goes on. Yeah. So when do you expect to see something like that? Is that something you put in your back pocket and say, after halftime, let's see how it goes. Once we get to halftime, we'll change the game and institute this? Or is that part of the script and then you just hope that it works?
Well, if I knew that Dennison's script was more than 15 plays, then I would have a little bit more, confidence in it.
Sure.
But if you look at it this way, you got Marone versus McDermott. Both of these guys know this game's not going to be won in the first quarter. It's not going to be won in the first half. Unless there are some significant breakdowns in a two talented defenses, which are very well disciplined, which I don't foresee happening. This game could go into halftime 6-3, realistically. So they know that. So to your point, they could just shelve it and say, listen, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do this. We're going to go straight at them. We're going to run a read option, you're just going to give it. If we're going to do off tackle, we're just going to go off tackle. We're not going to pull anybody. We're not going to do all this stuff. Maybe in the second half, when we start pulling guys, we try to get the flow of the game, see how much they're overcommitting on the run, see how much they are, what's going on downfield. Are they press coverage? Are they playing off? Are they playing a lot more zone than they usually are? That could be one of those things. But they for 16 games, they haven't done very good halftime adjustments.
No.
As far as offensively. No. So unless they just pocket it and say, listen, this is the first set of plays in the second half that we're going to run. All right? Let's just hopefully we're within 7, or we're winning, obviously, or we're within 7, so we can use those. Otherwise, we got to go off script. And when they go off script, that's when I go to the fridge.
That's right. Do you have a metal wallet?
Yeah, I got it for Christmas.
Oh.
You don't like that?
Really worried about somebody stealing your identity?
Yeah, and getting all $12 out of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The only thing
it gives you a satisfying snap every time you close it.
The beautiful thing about it is I don't carry cash because I don't have any. And you can't fit more than 4 bills in it and have it closed.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? And you look at the Jags and Fournette, talk about ineffective. Fournette's been not good.
No,
but
not at all.
We see that sometimes with college players coming in out of their rookie year, or coming into their rookie year.
They run out of gas.
They do. They tank out. And he was a beast at the beginning of the year. We saw it with Kareem Hunt, too. Kareem Hunt was outstanding in the beginning of the year. And then the NFL figures you out, and then you get tired. Right? You get rode on, and you get tired. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where you are with Fournette. You're not seeing that with Alvin Kamara. You could say, well, what about Kamara in New Orleans? You're not seeing that with Kamara because Kamara didn't play that much the first 5 weeks.
No, he didn't.
You still had Adrian Peterson on the team, right? Not that he was taking carries away, but the onus wasn't on getting Kamara the ball like it is now. So Kamara is still a fade-out candidate running into the playoffs, but Fournette looks tired. Everything
because he's a pounding back. And when we talked about Ezekiel Elliott last year, and would Fournette be productive having over 600 and some carries in his college career? Yet Ezekiel Elliott had 600 and some carries in his career. So the thing about it, you said, like you just said, the grind of the NFL season. These guys only usually used to playing 12, 13 weeks in college, and then they have to extend it another month.
Yeah.
And plus he was hurt, dealing with injury. Not the first time in his career, but dealing with injury at the NFL level. This guy's a little bit faster. It can get a little bit frustrating when you're frustrated as a runner. A lot of things can happen. So, I foresee Marone playing it close to the vest. I mean, we know what that's like here in Buffalo. He's going to play it close to the vest to see what kind of defenses that Buffalo's running. And the problem is, when Marone was in Buffalo, obviously Schwartz was there. Schwartz is like, listen, we're going to line up at 4-3. We're going to play. That's a lot of times. That's what McDermott does.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first half, this is going to look like an inter-squad scrimmage from 3 years ago that Marone had. So you're not going to see a lot of stuff that is surprising. You know, will they try to go deep early? I would. If I were the Bills, first play of the game, I would run a 9 with Kelvin Benjamin and overthrow it by 10 yards, just to get the guys out of the box. Because you want to give McCoy room and whoever your running backs are. That'd be the way I would start it out. But who knows? They might run a fullback draw for the play.
Because why not?
Because why not?
I'm not worried about the Jags' interior run game. It just looks beat to me. Mm-hmm. You know, the Jags have one hell of an interior line. You know, they have a great line and defensive line. Excuse me. The Jags have a great defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
We helped, and don't tell me that Marcel Darius didn't sell us down the river with every piece of intel that he could possibly give Doug Marone this week.
Absolutely. Well, like
Sold us
Marone
down the
didn't
river
know.
hard.
Like Marone didn't know. Anyway.
Well, there's nobody here from Marone's days. I mean, there's a few players, but I mean, they're your stalwart players, so they're guys that you already expect. But I mean, talking about like the concepts, like the internal information that you see, like when Belichick signs Eric Lee from the Bills practice squad 2 weeks before the Bills play him, and then Eric Lee goes bananas, right? That's what you get, and so you have to believe that Marcel Darius sold the Bills down the river with whatever he could possibly tell the Jags.
I don't see, that's the weird part, because we talk about it all the time about Dennison's game plan. Are you just talking about the offensive line tendencies of how they line up? If the guy puts his elbow on his thigh, if he puts his hand on his thigh, like what kind of a play it's going to be? Or do you think it's just more intel? Okay. I was saying, there's nothing that Dennison could do in the past 16 weeks that Hackett and Marone couldn't figure out.
Okay.
Not Hannah Hackett, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Shut up. The Bills happen to get behind schedule a lot. That's the only problem.
Big time.
Big time.
Well, you gotta push the ball downfield. You can't throw the ball 7 yards to Charles Clay all the time. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled that Clay is involved in the offense, but boy does he drop a lot of passes.
True story. Is he here next year?
$4.5 million saved if they let him go. He's a $9 million player next year. So I don't really know. It's 4.5 in bonus, 4.5 in signing bonus, 4.5 in salary. So, I mean, it's
$9 million. You got to be catching 75 balls at least.
Yeah, you're paying him like a receiver.
Exactly.
And he's not. He's not.
Not anymore.
No.
Speaking of Charles Clay and some other guys who, let's say, in the unfortunate event that the Buffalo Bills lose.
Yeah.
How many guys will be donning the Buffalo Bills jersey for the last time on Sunday?
I'm less of a believer that Kyle Williams is retiring. He's so into the process.
Oh, God.
He loves it. He's so in. He's full in.
I almost called CPS on him because he looked like he beat up his kids after Boyd scored that touchdown in the locker room. He picked them up. I just saw the bobbleheads go crazy.
Yeah, he was a little intense.
But that's, you work that long, that hard for that long.
Yeah.
Everyone was so happy for Kyle Williams.
Well, and that's the interesting thing is that everybody was so happy for Kyle Williams, but that locker room's totally different than it was last year.
Oh, my God.
So all those guys who were there and suffered with him, they're all gone. They're all gone. Like, you have Kyle Williams. Who's your next longest tenured Bill after that? Jerry?
Wood?
Wood. And then Jerry, right? Jerry Hughes after that.
Really?
Gotta be.
Are you kidding me?
Well, think of the retained Bills, right? So you have Eric Wood, you have Kyle Williams, right? Who else has been on this team?
Glenn.
Okay.
Mostly the line. Like, because the skill players.
It'd be those three. So Jerry would be 4. I forgot about Glenn.
Speaking of Zay
forgetting
Jones,
that he's even on the team.
Speaking of Zay Jones, he's never seen a season where he has not made the playoffs. Sorry, that was stupid. It's like the Blake Bortles facts.
Oh, God, that Twitter handle is so funny.
Oh, my God.
If you're not following Blake Bortles facts, you have to. It's one of the best followers on Twitter.
Oh, my God. It is
so funny.
Absolutely hysterical.
So funny. Blake Bortles, the other one was like, Blake Bortles needs
Yes.
Like 9,974 rushing yards Sunday to become the all-time leading rusher. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Well, they do the second half stats. Those are the ones that make me cry. Like he needs 420 touchdowns to pass Drew Brees in the second half or something like that. Those are hilarious.
So what do the Bills do at the running back position? Because you still have McCoy for another couple years. He is still effective, but you have to look at a wear down factor. You have to look at an injury factor. And right now, McCoy getting hurt was worst case scenario for the Bills. Mm-hmm. It was, because he's your whole offense.
He really is.
I mean, you could say that a Tyrod injury would have been worse than a McCoy injury. But that's even debatable. That's still
no, it would because you got to look at the drop off that you have from Tyrod to Peterman to McCoy down to Cadet.
Well, Cadet's not there anymore.
Well, who would? I mean, at the time.
Oh yeah.
So who do they have now?
Yeah, Murphy and Tolbert.
Murphy, I guess, yeah, because you're talking about two different. You're talking about going from a different offense. If you go from Tyrod to Peterman. You got a pocket passer versus a mobile guy that can make plays with his feet. Then you talk about Tolbert, who we've seen at camp. There's a reason this guy's still in the league.
Yeah.
He's one of the most athletic running backs.
It's shocking.
It's ridiculous. You're not allowed to be that big and be that athletic. And kudos to him because he's phenomenal. But you compare him to LaShawn McCoy, it's not much of a comparison.
No, there's no comparison.
As far as styles go.
Right.
So you have to change almost your whole offensive philosophy if you had Peterman and Tolbert versus Tyrod and McCoy in there.
Yeah.
So it's just completely, which is a struggle for Dennison because he's not really one of those guys, as we mentioned earlier, who's going to be successful in that plight. He's always had Kubiak. He's always had Kubiak and Manning. I mean, you talk about a guy whose title should have been offensive quality control when he was with Denver when Manning was there.
Hurrah!